What is up, everyone? Welcome to, as promised, the March Madness special. We are going to break down all 32 conferences. You're not going to see it much other places, so welcome. And at the end, there will be some bold predictions. We got 3 guests coming on, one representing the MAC, one representing Conference USA, and one representing the SEC. Got to get a big school in there. Ready to do this, Jake?
Yes, I am. Let's do it.
All right, you may see a little more downward phone looking sometimes, but we're trying to get you guys the best information. So that's the point of this. And yeah, let's get going. So we're going to start with the Atlantic 10, which I always find it funny with some of these conferences. Like, it's called the Atlantic 10, but there's 15 teams in it. It doesn't really make much sense because they expanded, obviously. But in the Atlantic 10, VCU is the favorite. They are 15-3 in conference play. The NET, and I'm going to be referencing the NET, and then there's another college team rankings, ranks teams, all 363 teams. So they have VCU at 67 in the nation and then 69 in the nation, respectively. However, we got to watch out for Dayton. Dayton is actually ranked 58 in the NET. They're second in the conference right now. That tournament is not over. It's just getting underway. Jake, what do you see in the Atlantic 10 right now?
Yeah, I'm just gonna list off a bunch of teams here. I got VCU, I got Dayton, I got Fordham, I got St. Louis, and I got George Mason as the 5 teams who maybe could get a chance to get into the tournament.
Yeah, I don't know. I really think I'm going to go Dayton. There's experience there. I think Richmond won the tournament last year. We looked it up. Richmond's towards the bottom of the league this year, so that will not happen. I think Dayton, this tournament, like I said, is underway right now. I think they're in a prime spot to take this. I'm going to go, I think Dayton represents them. I'll go seeding after that. But Jake, who do you think is going to represent the Atlantic 10?
Yeah, I mean, I gotta agree with you here. I got Dayton. I think the experience is there. I think they've beaten some good teams this year. I gotta go Dayton.
Dayton, Ohio, gotta love it. I think they will be, so they got a pretty good record. They're 20, well, they're 20-11. That's a little shaky, but they got a good conference record. They're an established brand. I'm going to put them, I think I'll put them as a 12 seed. I think I'm going to put them as a 12 seed. Yeah. So we could probably let's move to the next conference. We got the ASUN, the Atlantic Sun, which just finished off their tournament. Kennesaw State, me and Jake were both watching this game, is going to go their first ever March Madness appearance. How is that, Jake?
You know, I'm sure Kennesaw State is just ecstatic about it. I mean, I love to see first time teams in the NCAA tournament. It's unlike any other feeling.
Yeah, I think I'm gonna put them as they got a really good record, but they're a little unestablished. I think the NET has them at 113, so there's not a lot of faith there. I think they'll be a low seed, but you got to watch for upset alert. I'm gonna put them as a 15 seed going into the tournament.
Yeah, I think they'll be a low seed too. I think the team they beat actually has a chance of going into the tournament too. We were talking about this after the game, and I think if Liberty had gotten blown out, I didn't think they would have a chance. But Liberty they only lost by 1, so I think they have a chance of getting in the tournament.
Liberty is 44 in team rankings. I did not see what they are in the NET, but yeah, that would definitely be within the 64, right? Let's move to our first big conference. We got the ACC. Miami, Virginia, Duke, all ranked. North Carolina is even ranked in the third. What I found the weirdest ranking out of these when I did my research, North Carolina, the team rankings has them at 32 in the nation. That is ahead of Miami and Virginia. Has he seen North Carolina play this year?
Yeah, I mean, North Carolina, they're in danger of actually missing the tournament, I think.
Right.
Unless they have a good run in the ACC tournament, which, by the way, just started today, kicked off with Florida State and Georgia Tech. I believe Florida State won that game. Correct me if I'm wrong.
Georgia Tech won by a point. They won 61-60. Just
Oh, so Georgia Tech came back. Okay. All right.
Yes. I
So
think
Georgia Tech will move on.
it's going to be really interesting what happens in this tournament because that's going to decide a lot with seeding. Right now, it's unclear. A team could make a run. They seem to think North Carolina is going to make a run, even though they have 0 quad 1 wins. I think, I don't know, you got Clemson in there too. They're not high on Clemson. They're not high in Pittsburgh in the rankings. They're really focusing in on Miami, Virginia, and Duke. We'll see what happens there. I think Miami and Virginia, and I guess Duke because of the experience, but Duke hasn't super impressed me this year. I think Miami and Virginia are poised to make runs in this tournament, deep runs, not just like Elite 8 runs like last year. Yeah.
I think Miami, Virginia, Clemson, Duke, Pittsburgh, North Carolina State, I think they all have chances of getting in the tournament. I think, like I was talking about North Carolina, unless they make a deep run in the ACC tournament, they're in danger of missing the NCAA tournament.
Yeah. Yeah, I think they're gonna miss. I think one more team. I would say definitely watch out for Pittsburgh. I think Pittsburgh has played close. I don't know why they're so tough on them in the rankings. To win a couple tournament games, I would say definitely watch out for Pittsburgh. So that's gonna move us to another smaller conference, the American East. Vermont is 14-2 in conference play. They won it last year. They were in the tournament last year. I think they'll just steamroll back in. I think they will win. There's one other team, UMass Lowell, that's kind of close. But I think Vermont will win the American East. I think they will go in as a low seed, though. They'll probably go in like as a 15 or 16.
Yeah, I got Vermont too. They're the favorite to win this tournament. I think they're going to come out on top. Like you said, UMass Lowell has the second best odds to win the tournament. I think though Vermont takes it.
I do too. So that's going to move us to the American Athletic Conference, a bigger conference, actually a really big conference this year. Houston and the team rankings, the NET, and just the top 25 is all number 1 all around. And who said this? Who said this a month ago? Who said Houston was the front runner? Oh, go check.
Oh yeah, you did.
Go check the tape, guys. You'll it's on tape, so you'll see it. But
Hey,
anyways,
I said Tennessee, so I was wrong.
it happens. It happens. I think you'll be correct with your baseball predictions. But anyways, my point with that is this got really interesting. Memphis is usually a solid team. They're ranked 34 in NET, 35 in team ranking, so you can't count them out. Houston will win this tournament though, and we'll see how far they can go. They're going to be a hot bet. Obviously will be a 1 seed. I would say even watch out for Memphis if Memphis has a pretty good showing and they play Houston well in the tournament, you could see them sneak up to maybe a 7 seed or something, but we'll have to see.
Yeah, the AAC, they might allow 4 teams in the NCAA tournament, in my opinion. Anyway,
Tulane, they're not high on Tulane. Tulane is ranked 101 in the NET. I checked this. I thought about this because Tulane has a good record, but they're not high on them. I don't know why.
I think Tulane's a good team. I think, if anything, Houston, Memphis, Tulane, and Cincinnati, any 4 teams that have hopes of getting in the tournament.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. We'll have to see because usually you would think that is a bigger bid league. You got Wichita State in them. That's usually pretty good too. Usually you would think that's a bigger bid league, but we'll have to see what comes next. So what's the next conference, Jake? I'm starting to get my.
So the next conference is a bigger conference, the Big 12.
Big 12, yes.
The Big 12 conference. So with this conference, I have 4 teams who could obviously make it into the tournament. 4 big teams in the conference: Kansas, Texas, Kansas State, and Baylor. Baylor is actually one of my favorites to maybe win the tournament.
Yeah. Well, they won it 2
Evan,
years.
who do you think?
They won it 2 years ago. And what's going to be interesting, every team has a top 50 ranking in the NET except Oklahoma. That is insane for an entire conference. There's a lot of big names to watch. What I thought was interesting is the NET is not super high on Kansas. Like, yeah, they're 7, which is still very, very good, but like you'd think they would be higher. And Kansas is the highest. So they don't think any of them are going to contend for winning, but there's a ton of great teams. I disagree. I could easily see the March Madness winner coming out of this conference. Kansas is going to be at least a 2 seed. You got Texas that might compete for a 2 seed. And I don't know, Baylor, maybe even 2. You might even see like 3 different Big 12 top 2 seeds. We'll have to, and they've proven themselves in the tournament. So we'll have to see. they've proven themselves in the tournament outside of this next conference we're about to talk about, which is the Big Ten, who has not proved themselves in the tournament. Jake, what you got in the Big Ten?
Yeah, so the Big Ten, I think Big Ten is obviously a strong conference. I think Purdue is the front runner to win this one. You could also see Northwestern, Indiana, Michigan State, Iowa. You could see all of them. There's a four-way tie for fifth place in the conference. You don't see that whole bunch.
How much of a bid do you think? How many teams do you think are going to make it out of the Big Ten? Like 5, 6, maybe? But I'd say
I think
5.
I feel like maybe 6 makes it.
Yeah. They're not, because obviously Purdue's strong. They've been strong all year long, and then Indiana is strong too. But outside of that, there's a lot of middling. Like Michigan State had a terrible start to the year and then started to really pick it up. So we got to watch that. But I don't know. There's a lot that could come out of the Big Ten. It kind of like the same with the ACC. It really is going to depend how the tournament goes. I can see, Northwestern has to have a good showing to get in. But if they do, I can see Northwestern as a positive seed, maybe an 8 or a 9. So we're really just going to have to see. But I don't. Big Ten's a little down this year compared to the years past. But that's good because usually they choke. They're really high and then they choke. Maybe if they're down low, maybe the expectations are off. So we'll have to see. Next up, we got another pretty big basketball conference. We got the Big East, which everyone is crazy high on UConn. UConn's ranked 11 in the top 25, but in the NET, they are ranked 6, and then in the team rankings, they're ranked 5th in the nation. Do you think UConn's far and away the best in the Big East?
I think UConn is a very good team in the Big East, but however, you still gotta look out for the top dog in the conference, Marquette. I think UConn, Creighton, Xavier, Marquette, they all have chances of getting in the tournament. Maybe even Providence.
Yeah, Providence is solid. I picked UConn to go to my Final Four last year, and they lost in the first round, so I'm still salty about that. But they do have a good team.
I won the tournament last year.
He did. We faced each other. He picked Miami to win it all, and he still beat me.
Yes.
Knocking my AirPod out here.
Hey, yeah. Miami made it to the Elite Eight.
They did. They impressed, and I think they could go farther this year, but we'll have to see. So, anyways, with this conference, I don't know. This will be. I think this is still a 5-bid league. Just the top 5. I think Villanova might just miss it. It's gonna be Providence, UConn, Creighton. Don't sleep on Creighton. They can score.
All right. And we have our first conference guest of the game. We have Tyler. Tyler, how you doing?
What's up? How you doing?
All right. I'm doing great, man. Thank you. And we're going to be talking about the MAC conference, I think. So I think the teams I got going into that have a chance of going into the tournament is Toledo, Kent State, Akron, and maybe Ball State, but I don't know if because they didn't exactly play great this year. They had a good finish to the year, but I don't see Ball State making it. Tyler, what do you think?
I think I would agree with you. I understand this is one of our rebounding years with new coach. We're a 4th seed in the MAC tournament this year, so I really don't think we're gonna get in. If we do, that'd be great, obviously. But honestly, I think Toledo's gonna take it for the MAC.
Yeah. Well, the NET, I don't know if you know the NET rankings, they do all 363. They have Kent State is actually the best team. They have them ranked at 69th in the nation, and Toledo at 81. Is there any reason why that might be?
It's been on and off all year. Kent State and Toledo have been fighting back and forth for first place in the MAC. So it honestly could be either way. It's pretty much even teams as it can get. I could see where they're going with that, but honestly, like I said, I think Toledo is obviously the better team, and they're hot at the right time.
Yeah, they are hot at the right time. I was looking through it, kind of the history. Toledo's always been up there. They don't always win it though in the MAC tournament, which is kind of interesting. Akron was good at the beginning of the season. They kind of faded out. It looks like they're in 3rd right now. Ball State, it seems like, is going to get its chance if they ever had it. They played Toledo very close a couple of weeks ago. Am I right on that? Yeah. And so they're going to get their shot. Do you see them, taking advantage of that shot?
Hopefully, yeah. I mean, we've been inconsistent all year. We're not a very good road team. We thrive off the home environment from what I've seen. Hopefully we can get it. I'm just hoping we can do something out of this.
Yeah. Yeah, I think I don't know. I think I got to agree with Jake. I think Toledo is and yourself. You said it too. I think Toledo is probably going to take it. I'm not sold on Kent State either. I was kind of looking at their schedule, but one more thing. Any players in mind to look out for on Ball State? That you know of?
Honestly, if we stay healthy, I would look at 3 players: Peyton Sparks, Mickey Pearson Jr., and Jalen Sellers.
Okay, good shooters or like.
Peyton Sparks has been called a Big Ten talent. He's good enough to play in the Big Ten. He's our starting center. Mickey Pearson is a rebounding machine, and Jalen Sellers is on lethal from behind the arc, and he's a really good dunker. He's a lot of energy.
Maybe you can go to Northwestern now that they're decent. We'll have to see. Yeah. All right, Tyler. We'll see how the MAC plays out. Thanks for coming on.
The next conference we got is the Big Sky. I think, this conference is only going to send one team to the NCAA tournament. I think the winner of the conference, and the leading winner of the conference I got is Eastern Washington. They're up there at 16-2. One game in front of Montana State, 4 in front of Weber State. Evan, who you got? Who you got winning the conference, and who do you think is going to go to the tournament?
Yeah, semifinals are tonight. Don't count out Weber State. They're 12-6, like Jacob said. So be on the lookout for that. I think I agree. I think Eastern Washington is likely to take it, but also don't count out Montana State too. Only one game back. I think, but what's interesting is Eastern Washington is only 130th in the NET, so they're definitely quad 2, maybe even lower end quad 2. By the way, to our viewers who don't know a bunch about March Madness, they divide them into 4 quads. So quad 1 is like the top of the top. So that's what they kind of mean. So quad 2, he's like 130 out of 363. You do the math, you can see that a little bit. But just to explain that, but that's like lower end. So whoever wins this conference is likely going to be a 16 seed going in. But I will go with Eastern Washington too. Yeah.
The next conference we got is the Big South. Evan, I'll go you first. Who you got winning this conference, and how many teams do you think is going to go to the NCAA tournament?
Well, UNC Asheville just clinched. They just won this conference. They had a hard-fought battle in the tournament. They've had some pretty good basketball in the past. They have a really good record, 27-7. But just because of the name recognition, they're going to be a little lower. I think they'll go in we'll put them as a 14 seed.
Yeah, I mean, this conference already has the winner, like you said, UNC Asheville. They're going to be a little lower in the tournament, but I think they're a strong team. 16-2, I think they're a strong team, though.
All right, moving on. We got the Big West Conference. Who the heck so UC is obviously California. SB. What is SB? It's not Sonoma. I knew what, but what UC SB is anyways at the top. And then University of California, Irvine, I know that one, is also tied with them. This will probably be a 1-bid conference too. But let's see, has this tournament happened yet? Let's see. No, they're in the first, or they're just starting the first round tonight. So we'll have to see what happens. This is a 1-bid league. Bakersfield, that's what it is. I think, or no, Bakersfield's a lower. Anyway, don't listen to me. I think either way, whoever wins this will be a 1-bid. They'll be a 15 or a 16 seed.
So UCSB actually stands for UC Santa Barbara.
Santa Barbara, okay.
Yes. So I think USC Santa Barbara will win this conference.
We'll have to see. We're going to save Conference USA because we got a guest for that. Next up, we got the Colonial. Tonight is the final. Charleston has been really great this year. They've gotten some, gotten close to the top 25. I don't think they actually landed it, but they're 30-3 on the season. They're facing UNC Wilmington for the championship of the Colonial tonight. I think Charleston will continue to roll. This should be a good game. UNC Wilmington, they won Wilmington, not Williamton. Wilmington won, what was the other turn? The Basketball Classic. They won the Basketball Classic last year against my former school, MTSU. So they're no blowovers, but Charleston will storm in the tournament. I could see them getting like a 12 seed. They got a pretty nice record.
Yeah, like other smaller conferences, I think they're only going to send one team to the NCAA tournament. I think that team will be Charleston.
100%. I think there's no doubt they're only sending one. So another really kind of weak conference, but an interesting conference next is the Horizon, because the Horizon all season, I looked into this, was headlined by Youngstown State and Milwaukee, but they both just got bounced in the semifinals. So the final is going to be Northern Kentucky against Cleveland State tonight. I think Northern Kentucky's going to win that.
Yeah, I got Northern Kentucky too, and this conference is actually interesting because if you remember, Evan, I was texting you all season about Green Bay in this conference.
Yes.
Green Bay is not a good basketball team at all. They were 3-29 overall. So definitely not a good team, but
I just looked it up. Green Bay is ranked 361st in the NET rankings. Out of 3, there's 2 teams worse, LIU and Hartford. Hartford's an independent too. So yeah, they're bottom of the barrel. So not huge competition, obviously only a 1-bid league. I'll say Northern Kentucky makes it. They're like their record's 21. They'll be low. They might be one of the first 4 in.
Yeah.
We'll have to see. Yeah. Next up, we got the Ivy League. Jake, where do you see coming out of this?
So the Ivy League is maybe going to send maybe 1, maybe 2 teams to the NCAA tournament. It just depends who wins the conference. You know, Princeton and Yale, I think
they're not sending 2, but we'll see. Yeah, go ahead.
I think maybe Princeton and Yale. It depends what happens in the tournament. But I think if they only send 1, then it will be Princeton.
No, this could be an interesting tournament because there's no huge front runner. Yale does have a nice record at 20-7, but this conference has kind of beat each other all around. Don't even count out Penn. Penn is at 17-12. I think Jake's right. It depends what happens in the tournament. They'll be like a 13 seed. The Ivy League's pretty respectable. It's not unrespectable. But yeah, I got them going as like a 13 seed. So next we got the MAAC. I'm not going to pretend to say that because I'll probably get it wrong. The leading team in there is Iona at 17-3. They have a conference record of. Jake, how do you see this one playing out?
Yeah, I think Iona will take this one. They're 4 games ahead of Rigo and 6 games ahead of Quinnipiac and 6 games ahead of Siena. I think that's how you pronounce it. Yeah, so I think
Siena, something like that. Yeah.
I think Iona is going to take this conference.
Yeah, Iona seems solid. I would not count out Rider though. They've been around. I've seen their name around a lot. Has this tournament happened? No, this tournament has not happened. The first round is tonight. So let's see how it plays out. Iona is definitely set up well. This will be another lower seed, like 12 through 14. We'll say 13 for the sake of argument. But yeah, we'll have to see what happens. Next up, we got we just did the MAC. So we don't have that anymore. We have the MEAC, which has some more Southern schools. Some of the, I think HBCUs are in this one. The Mid-Eastern Athletic Conference, that's what it is. Howard is leading the way in that. North Carolina Central is not far behind. Jake, where do you see this one?
Yeah, I think so. The winner of this conference is either going to be Howard or North Carolina Central. I think both teams might have a shot of making it, but if they're only sending 1 team, I think it might be Howard.
No, yeah, they're not sending 2 teams. I think don't count out for Norfolk State either. They're up there too, but I will go with the front runner for this one. I think Howard's going to win it. And I could see them as maybe a 12 seed. Maybe that might be generous, but let's see.
So the next conference we got
is the Missouri Valley. What do you got on that one?
And Drake just won this conference.
They did.
So Drake and Bradley might go to the NCAA tournament. I don't know. Don't quote me on that. But Drake, I feel like they just won the tournament. They've already clinched a spot. They might send Bradley as well.
So here's actually a good argument for this one. Bradley is ranked 73rd in the NET. So that's, 64 make the turn. Well, 68 with the first 4 in. That gets a little close. So 73. I personally don't think they're going to. I think Drake won in overwhelmingly flat fashion. Bradley really had to show something and they didn't. They almost got eliminated. I watched the game against Northern Iowa in the first round. They almost got eliminated. So I don't think so, but there is an argument there. Drake is set up really well because they got a good record. They just pounded their opponent to win conference. I think they could be a 10 seed. I think they're a 10 or a 9. I think you got to watch out for Drake. All right, so next up, we are doing Conference USA. We are joined by, correct me if I'm wrong, your ad is GMG Sports.
That is correct. That is correct.
GMG Sports. He is North Texas fan page, and he's going to represent Conference USA for us. How you doing?
I'm doing well. How about you guys?
Doing very, very good. So North Texas has been up on top of Conference USA kind of the last 3 years. They won it in 2021. They had the best record going into the tournament last year, and then were upset by Louisiana Tech. And then this year, they are second in the conference. But really, Conference USA has strong teams all around. It's UAB is 58 in the NET. UNT is 39 and FAU is 15. I don't quite get that hype. We'll get to that in a little bit. But anyways, what have you seen out of this UNT team, and do you think they're ready to make a run come tournament time?
I think that any Coach Mac team, is really ready, for a run. I think that this team is special in a way because we have more of a post guy in Abu Usman than normal. Tyler Perry, obviously that fourth-year senior, his second year in North Texas. I do think that this team is better defensively than last year, which is something that's really hard to say for North Texas, considering that one of the best defense right now in the nation. But I think that this team is ready. I do think that it's just how the domino lays in terms of our offensive production entering the CUSA tournament. But I do really think that North Texas has a good chance to compete high.
Yeah. I think they're the most established team because obviously 2 years ago, like I said, they beat Purdue in the opening round. I don't know if any of those guys are still around, but still they're an established brand. And like you mentioned, I was going to get to that. They're very strong defensively, but that makes me wonder come tournament time, especially Conference USA tournament time. I know UAB, they got Jordan Walker who can go crazy at times scoring. How do you avoid a situation like, yes, you keep them low scoring games, but say one of those guys goes off, how do you avoid a disappointment like last year with Louisiana Tech beating you guys in the semifinals?
I think that one key is honestly how the Conference USA schedules it, because a very subliminal thing that nobody really noticed about that Conference USA loss to in the tournament to Louisiana Tech was that we were going from a 9 p.m. finish to an 11 a.m. start, which is absolutely brutal, especially offensively. The final was like 42-36 or something hideous like that. It was like watching some high school basketball from my experience. But I just think that the one key is keeping the offense running. You can't let the other team, a team particularly like UAB, start to get on runs, or else it's very dangerous, because with a team like North Texas, you can't get down 10 or 15. It's really tough to come back, especially, without some battery guys, that have really been as productive in years past, like Javion Hamlet was a few years ago. Obviously, you have Tyler Perry, but, you just really need just to stay in games the entire way and not let anything, just get out of hand almost.
Yeah, definitely. I really think this is a 3.5 team race. And I say a half team race because I went to MTSU for 2 years, so I do know a little bit about Conference USA basketball. I don't think they have that, they have some decent guys. I don't think they have that decent scorer quite yet this year. I think FAU is personally, yes, they have an extremely good record, but you look at the teams they played, they played with Florida, but Florida's not really that great this year. They lost at UAB, they lost at MTSU. I really think I think it's up to North Texas and FAU, but I think North Texas is in a great spot. Do you think FAU is a little overhyped, or what do you think about them?
I think that they're overhyped. In my opinion, I think that this might just be a 6-team race personally, because, you have Rice, you have Charlotte, those two teams. We lost to Charlotte on the road. We lost to Rice at home. So, it's a very difficult, conference, in my opinion. I think that almost anyone could win this league, besides obviously a team like Western Kentucky, FIU, schools like that, but overall, this league is very tough. I think that there are teams that could upset, similar to what we've seen in other conference tournaments, but yeah, it's going to be tough.
All right, I'll save my prediction. I just want to get Jake in here. Jake, any thoughts on Conference USA?
Yeah, I think it will be a top three team race: FAU, North Texas, and UAB. You know, you guys are saying you don't get the FAU hype. I do. They're 28-3. You know, obviously they're 18-2 in conference play. I get the hype.
Yeah, that is a really good record. We do have to acknowledge that. Yeah. Anything to that? Alex?
Oh, sorry about that. Sorry about
No,
that.
you're all good. Yeah.
Yeah, I do think that FAU is legit to an extent. I don't think that they're necessarily, top 25, 15 in net legit, but I do think that they're a force to be reckoned with. I really like their coaching down there. He's done great things. They've got 3 key scorers. Forrest last year was key. Now he's like 4th in scoring. So, they brought in a ton of talent. This is tough.
All right. To end it, who's winning Conference USA? Is there going to be multiple teams in the tournament? If so, what seed? So I'll start first. I think UNT is going to win. I think they will win. It's going to get really interesting because FAU, like I said, I originally did not think this would be a 2-bid conference, but if they lost, again, their record and they're still at 15 in the NET, they could get in. If UNT loses, but they're probably not going to get in. But if FAU loses, it gets a little interesting. So I could see both of them getting in. And if UNT does win the conference, I could see them as a 10 or 11 seed. That they'd be pretty well positioned. Alex, what do you think?
Personally, I have UAB winning the league. Obviously, I'm a North Texas guy, but UAB is probably going to run in North Texas in those semifinals. UAB is a very dangerous team. Really don't like matching up against Jelly Walker. He is one of the best point guards, in my opinion, in the entire nation. I think that it's going to be a 2-bid league, like you said. UAB gets in right around that 12 seed. FAU gets in my opinion, around a play-in, first 4 type team. But yeah, that's how I see it breaking down.
Jake.
Yeah, I think this will be a 2-big league. I think FAU and North Texas. But I think FAU will win the conference, though.
All right. North Texas page says UAB is going to win the conference. We'll see how that goes. But anyways, thank you for coming on. We really appreciate it.
Alex. So the next conference we got is the Mountain West Conference. Evan, I'll let you start.
Yeah, so I mean, this is a pretty competitive conference. San Diego State is 16 in the NET, not the NIT, the NET. Utah State is ranked 21st, and Boise State is ranked 27th. So there's this is what's traditionally looked at as a football conference, is going to be very competitive. Let's see if the tournament started. So the tournament on this one has not started. It actually starts tomorrow. So this is a pretty late tournament. It's going to be very interesting to see how this one shakes out. It seems like there's 3 teams. I could see 4 maybe if Nevada performs. This is a very solid conference. What do you think, Jake?
Yeah, I think the top 3 teams will make it: San Diego State, Utah State, and Boise State. Don't sleep on Nevada, though. So
no, don't. Especially if they do well in the tournament and beat one of those guys. Then what do? You got to put them in, right? But because they have a pretty good record,
right.
They're 22-9 and got a 12-6 in conference. So they have a respectable record. So next up, we got the Northeast Conference, another small one. Merrimack is let's see where they're at. Oh, this, funny enough, we're recording this Tuesday night, and we will put that in the information. So you guys aren't like, well, what day are they talking about? We're recording this Tuesday night. We're posting it Friday night. But anyways, Merrimack just won the Northeast Conference, a 1-point win over Fair Dixon. They had a pretty good season. They finished 12-4. They were 18-16 overall. So they got hammered early in the season, but they finished strong. They will go to the tournament. I got to imagine they're a 16 seed though.
I gotta imagine they're 16 seed, and I gotta imagine they're the only team in this conference making it.
Oh yeah, 100%. Yeah. Well, they're 18-16. Like, I don't think I've ever seen it. Someone that low. So that will be very interesting to see what happens. Next up, we got the Ohio Valley Conference. Jake, I will let you go first on this one. Thoughts on this one?
Yeah, I think Morehead State, I think they're the only team making it. I could also see Tennessee Tech, maybe, but I think
So this
Morehouse
one
is the only
actually
team.
just ended. This was the upset. Southeast Missouri, which was the 5 seed going into the tournament, won the conference title. They won it over Tennessee Tech. Very heartbreaking loss for Tennessee Tech. So Southeast Missouri will be the one who is representing the Ohio Valley in March Madness. They were they were 19 and 16, so another one going in there, kind of a lot of low seeds. Eventually, I don't know. They're gonna have to kick one of these guys up. So this seems like a 15 and a 16 again to me.
Yeah. Morehead State could also make it, depending on maybe they look at the record as a whole, but maybe not.
Yeah, maybe not. I scrolled so far down, I was looking to see where these guys place in the NET. I don't even see them anywhere near the top. So I have to imagine if they're, I know I've said 16 a couple times, this would be another strong candidate for a 15 or a 16 seed. So next up we have the Pac-12. So we have the Pac-12. This is
The
one
conference I've been waiting for all video.
This is one I know Jake was
I've been
very
waiting
excited
for
to
this.
talk about. So let's get to it, Jake.
Yeah, this conference, I mean, this conference is a basketball conference. UCLA, obviously at the top. They're one of my favorites to win the whole thing. We'll talk about that later. UCLA, Arizona, USC, Oregon, they all have chances to make it, I think.
Yeah. This is going to be an interesting one because obviously UCLA and Arizona dominate at the top. They're 2 in the nation in the top 25. UCLA is ranked number 2 and Arizona is ranked number 8. So top 10 feel to it. But the bottom half of the conference, how do you sort that one out, Jake? Because you got USC and then you got Oregon, Arizona State, Washington State, and Utah, all with respectable records. How do you think that's going to sort out? Or how much of a bid league do you think this is going to be?
What do you mean?
Like, how many teams do you think are gonna, like, how much bids? How much do you think is gonna come out of the Pac-12 in the tournament?
Yeah, I think maybe 5, maybe 6. Depends on how the tournament goes.
Yeah. So they have UCLA at 4 in the NET. So that's 1 seed contention. UCLA might be a 1 seed if they do well in the tournament. We'll have to keep an eye out for that. Arizona is likely to be a 2 or 3 seed going in. We'll see a little more of a down year for them compared to last year, but that could be good because they choked under pressure last year. I'm looking to see if I have any other Pac-12 around here. Okay, so they have USC at 45. That's pretty high for USC. That could get them a decent seed, maybe an 8 or a 9. So the Pac-12 is looking pretty strong for basketball this year. I know they're usually top heavy and then kind of bad bottom heavy, but there's been some teams recently.
Right.
Oregon State in 2021. Remember, they were a 14 seed and they went all the way to the Elite 8. There's been some teams, and UCLA was like an 8 seed, and they went to the Final Four. So the Pac-12 knows how to go on runs. We'll just say that. So next up, we got the Patriot League. The final for this one is tomorrow. It's going to be Lafayette against Colgate, not the toothbrush company, the basketball team. But Colgate is very solid. They're 17-1.
Toothpaste company. Toothpaste company. Toothpaste.
Toothpaste company. Yes. Colgate is 17-1.
Yes, not toothbrush.
Oh yeah. I said toothbrush. I don't know why I said that. But they're 17-1. What do you see them winning tomorrow and going to the March Madness?
Yeah, I see Colgate winning this one and advancing in March Madness. Probably the only big that the Patriot League gets.
So here's where it gets a little interesting though, because Lafayette, the team they're facing tomorrow, is 11-22. 11-22.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know if they just scheduled a lot of out of conference tough games, but they're 11-7. So wait, they're 11-22 and 11-7. Or no, excuse me, 7-11. So I was gonna say, did they only get their wins in conference play? No, they didn't. They're 7-11. But they must have went out around the tournament. Don't count out those teams. That's what March is for. Those teams that come out of nowhere. You just got, Tyler Murray said it earlier in the show. You just got to be hot at the right time. So we'll see what happens. But I think if Colgate, let's hypothetically, because I think it's more fun to hypothetically say Colgate gets in because they got a decent record. I'd put them at a 12 or 13 seed. I don't remember what they were when they were in a couple years ago.
Respectable.
Yeah. I would put them at a 12 or a 13. So moving on, we got to save the SEC. We're saving that for the end. We got to go to the SWAC. How do you say it? Southwestern Athletic Conference. Yes, another HBCU conference. Jake, what do you see in this one?
Yeah, has this conference championship happened yet?
Let's check. No. They're doing the quarterfinals tomorrow, so they still got a while to go on this one. Yeah.
And who are the teams in the quarterfinals?
They got Bethune-Cookman, Grambling, Texas Southern, and Alcorn State.
Yeah.
Probably still some.
Yeah, I think
there.
Alcorn State is gonna win it. Maybe Grambling State too.
Yeah, they're both at 15-3. Don't count out Jackson State either at 12-6 in conference play. This is definitely one where you could see it going any other way. So they still have their whole tournament to do. We'll have to see. I don't know. The winner of this could be ranked decently. It depends how they turn out, but I'll make a prediction. Let's make a prediction. Let's go. We'll go Jackson State. I think Jackson State goes on a run, gets in the tournament.
Yeah, I agree with that.
All right. So next up, we got the Southern Conference, who just had the SoCon. I like that phrasing better, SoCon, than the Southern. They just had their final yesterday. Furman beat Chattanooga. They are going to the tournament. Jake, what's your thoughts on them?
Yeah, Furman 15-3 in conference play, 27-7 overall. I think Furman deserves to be there, but I think it's a low seed. I think it's like a 12 or 13.
Yeah, they're not as low as a 16 because there's some really, like, Northern Kentucky just won their conference. Like, there's some really teams that are going to be low, but Furman's got a solid resume. They're 15-3. They're 27-7. They will get. I think I got to agree. I'll give them a 13 seed, kind of like what Jake was saying. Next up, we did the Southern. Now we got the Southland Conference. That is going on right now. The semifinals are going on right now. Jake, any thoughts on this one?
Yeah, Texas A&M, Corpus Christi. I'm sorry. Obviously they're a good team. I think if anything, they make it into the tournament, and it seems like one big conference to me.
Yeah, I was looking. This is definitely one big conference. I was looking to see if I could spot. Okay, so A&M Corpus Christi is 188th on the NET, so that's like barely quad 2. So probably if they win, because there's still a while to go, if they win, that's probably a strong contention for
They'll be a low seed, yeah. They'll
be pretty low. We'll have to see what happens with that, but I think we'll see what happens with that tournament. It's still in the semifinals. They could get upset. The teams behind them, like Northwestern State, I think it is, or whatever, they could come up on them. We'll have to see how that plays out. So next is the Summit League, which is interesting. That is this. I currently go to a Summit League school. Right now, Oral Roberts is up 15 in the title game. Oral Roberts is undefeated. I think they're the only ones I've seen so far that are undefeated in conference play. They're 18-0. Are they going to wrap it up tonight?
Yeah, Oral Roberts going to wrap up tonight. They're going to make it into the NCAA tournament. This is a one big league again. One big conference. Oral Roberts just too good. I think they made it in last year. I think they made it
2 years
to
ago.
the
They
round
beat
of
Ohio State
32.
2 years ago. Yeah. South
2
Dakota
years ago?
State won. South Dakota State won this last year. 2 years ago was Oral Roberts, and that's when they beat Ohio State, who was a 2 seed.
Oh yeah, I do remember South Dakota State. Yes. What's your predictions for this conference, Evan?
Yeah, so this will be a one bid league. South Dakota State's not as good this year. They lost last night. Oral Roberts, they have on team rankings, they have them at 84th, but on the NET, which has more weight, they have them at 44. So they're a solid team. They've bulldozed most of their competition. They will go in the tournament. I think they're going to go in. I could see them as an 8 or a 9. You go undefeated in conference play. That's pretty impressive. I think they're going to be in one of these smaller conferences. They're going to be higher up. I could see them as a 7, 8, or 9. Oral Roberts going in. So next up, we got the Sun
Belt League.
this was an interesting tournament. South Alabama eliminated the number 1 seed. Marshall, who was really strong, got eliminated early too. Eventually, Louisiana did win in the final over South Alabama. Louisiana was a very strong team all season. Where do you see Louisiana going into the tournament?
Louisiana is going to be a lower seed because of how unexperienced this conference is. Maybe like a 15, maybe like a 14 seed.
Yeah, I think yes, they're unexperienced. Louisiana had a really good season, though. I think I'm going to put them at a 12. I think they're going to be a 12 seed. Yeah. So next up, we are winding down. We got 2 more conferences. We got the WAC, the Western Athletic Conference. This tournament's going on right now. The first round was today.
Yeah.
This is Jake. How do you see this one panning out?
Yeah, Grand Canyon beat UT Arlington earlier today, and I don't remember what the other game was.
There was 4 games. There's Tarleton's going on right now. There's a lot of games going on right now. Yeah.
Yeah, I think Sam Houston State might take this one though. But don't sleep on Grand Canyon. Don't.
Yeah, so
How do you
Utah
see
Valley's
this
the
one?
favorite. I agree. There's a lot of solid teams. Seattle University is 5th in this conference. They're a solid team. This is going to be a dogfight. I don't know if this is going to be a 2-bid league. I could see the makings of it, but I'd have to check the NET. What's the conference name again, Jake? With the WAC.
It is the WAC. The
So the WAC,
WAC.
oh yes, the WAC gets very interesting. Utah Valley is ranked 74th in the NET, and then 60th in the NET. No, yeah, 60th in the NET is Sam Houston. So that's on the verge of being a 2-bid league. Now it does matter. Like if Grand Canyon plays spoiler, we're gonna have to watch for that. This could be a 2-bid league if it is, say, Sam Houston versus Utah Valley in the championship. So we'll have to see how that plays out. But very, very underrated conference. And for our last conference, we've made it through all 32. We got the West Coast Conference with powerhouses Gonzaga and St. Mary's battling it out right now for the championship.
Right.
Gonzaga's up by
Yes.
9. Quick spoiler, but who do you think is going to finish out that one, Jake?
Yeah, Gonzaga is going to take this one. They're just too much of a powerhouse. 27-5 overall, 14-2 in conference play. They're just going to take this one. They're too much of a powerhouse. How do you see this one?
Yeah, I think it's going to be Gonzaga. I think they're up by now. It's easier to say that because they're up by 9, but this is a down year for Gonzaga, and they're still in the 9th seed, the ninth ranked team in the nation. Excuse me, and they will take this one, and St. Mary's will get a nice seed. I predict Gonzaga is going to get since they're going to win this one. They're already 9th. I think they're probably going to get a 2 seed because the committee definitely likes them. And I think this shouldn't hurt St. Mary's too much. I could see St. Mary's as a 4 or 5 seed. I think they're pretty legit. Welcome back, guys. We are moving to the SEC. We got a couple SEC reps here. They're Kentucky fans. We got Jason and Kentucky Men's Basketball Zone on Instagram. We will link that Instagram, of course. How you guys doing?
Good, man. Good. How are you?
Doing very well, definitely. So Kentucky started out obviously very disappointing last year with the St. Peter's loss. They started out this year a little bit bumpy too, but they kind of really got going. They had 2 wins over Tennessee, which were definitely clutch into leading them, kind of back into it. Where do you guys see Kentucky kind of forming into the SEC tournament? Do you see them going in strong or kind of limping in? I will start with you, Kentucky Men's Basketball Zone.
Me personally, I think they're going to go in strong. They've been probably one of the hottest teams in college basketball, in my opinion, in the last month. So, and I think we're playing Vanderbilt on Friday. I don't know if that's confirmed. Jason, do you know if that's confirmed or no?
I do know the winner of Georgia versus LSU has to play Vandy.
Okay.
So the winner of that game plays us on Friday. I think we play on Friday.
Yeah, we play Friday. So yeah, I think.
So the winner of Georgia. Yeah, so the winner of Georgia versus LSU plays Vandy, and the winner of that game plays us.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so we'll probably win that game, and then I think we have to play Texas A&M in the semis. I think we beat them 2 times. I'm not 100% sure, and then we'll have to play either Alabama or Tennessee. In my opinion, I hope Tennessee because it's going to be an easier matchup for us because we already beat Tennessee 2 times. So
Yeah.
Alabama,
It has been a good matchup, but I just want to go around. Do you guys think the SEC is a weaker conference this year? You could argue that they just beat each other up. Like that's why some teams might not have great records. Obviously, Alabama's very high, but take Tennessee, for example. Tennessee was like 1 or 2 in the nation, and now they're like 5th in the SEC. Do you think it's more that the SEC has just beat each other up, or is it the fact that it's a down year for the conference?
down
man.
year because last year the last 2 teams were the ACC and the SEC. This year it's the Big 12 and I don't know who else, but the Big 12 is the best conference this season by far.
100%.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Yeah.
I agree with that.
Yeah. So do you I feel like with Kentucky it's good because sometimes you get Kentucky's obviously a blue blood, and sometimes you get that kind of going on with like blue bloods. There's so much expectations. You know, say Kentucky does good in the SEC tournament this year and they go into the tournament, they're like, I don't know, somewhere from like a 7 to a 4 seed, right?
Right.
Little less expectations. Do you think that may help the team win some games in the tournament?
Honestly, for me personally, I think it's all about matchups. That's what the March Madness is about, man. It's all about matchups, who we play. But yeah, I definitely do because I think, like, judging by history, whenever Kentucky, let's say, does get ranked by the AP poll, the very next game we lose. You know what I mean? So I believe that the lower the rank, the better it is for us personally. But like I said before, it's all about matchups. So I got to see, like, on Sunday what the draw is, and then I can say how far we go. But right now, on a skill base wise, I think we're anywhere between a Sweet 16 to an Elite 8 team right now. So
I think that's reasonable. So we're gonna do predictions in a little bit, but Jake, just to you, anything you got on the SEC?
Yeah, I think this is a very strong conference. I think it could potentially be one of our highest big conferences of the whole college basketball world. I think it can be as high as a 6 big conference.
facts.
Yeah. All right. So let's do some predictions. Just maybe first of all, prediction for Kentucky, and then maybe just bold predictions about the conference. I'll go first. I think that Alabama is going to be a 1 seed unless they completely choke in the SEC tournament. They're going to be a 1 seed, but then they're going to completely choke come March Madness. Alabama's a really good team. Don't get me wrong. They just have all the characteristics. There's been a lot of 2-15 upsets. Maybe they're a 1 seed. Maybe it doesn't happen till the round of 32. I think Alabama's going to go down. And I may predict that too on my bracket. But as for Kentucky, though, I think Kentucky, obviously, I think they're going to get in the tournament. It depends on how they do in the SEC tournament. If they get in maybe one of, get maybe a 6 seed, that might be, or maybe not quite that, but that might be favorable for them instead of like an 8 to 9 seed. So I think I could definitely see Kentucky at least getting to a Sweet 16. But Jason, I'll go to you. Any predictions about Kentucky or the SEC?
I do have one sleeper. I think South Carolina is a sleeper pick. Not saying they'll win it all, but the way they've been playing lately, almost beat Bama. I think they'll make it to at least maybe the quarterfinal, semifinal, but they are a sleeper. But I got us winning it all. Because the last few weeks, Bama has shown they're beatable. You just got to control Brandon Miller. I'm going back to the Carolina game. Dude had, 42 points and 39,
Yeah.
39 points and
Yeah,
42
he had 41.
minutes.
He had 41 points.
Wow.
But that's crazy for a freshman. But if we play Bama in the SEC championship, I think if we can control him, I think we have a shot. But I'm scared of Bama and I'm scared of him. Bama's just, they got the size and they got the shooters.
Yeah,
Yeah.
for sure.
Yeah, I'll
Yeah,
go
that's
to
one
you
team
next, Kentucky men's basketball. What do you any predictions?
So you want like a sleeper team, and
Yeah, sure.
then
I'll take a sleeper team. Yeah.
okay. I think my sleeper team honestly is Vandy. I think they can make a lot of noise. They're very underrated, in my opinion. But the only thing about Vandy is like they're gonna play us, and I mean, they already beat us one time at our home court, so it's gonna be a good game. But I think they lost their star player to an injury.
Yeah.
So I
I
think
know
that takes
Florida did too. That's kind of what knocked
yeah,
Florida out. But at
exactly.
Vanderbilt, yeah. Yeah.
Honestly, if Castleton didn't get injured, I would say Florida. That's a good point for sure. Yeah, I
Yeah.
would say Florida as a sleeper team too, but since Castleton's injured, I don't think. And like most of the plays, if you guys watch like the SEC, most of the plays went through him, through
Yeah.
Castleton on Florida. So
Right.
I mean, shoot, they almost beat us without him when we went
Yeah.
down to the swamp. But
That's why I think it's just the SEC beating each other up. But Jake, do you have any bold predictions?
Yeah, I got agree with Kentucky men's basketball page. Vanderbilt's my sleeper for this. Like I said earlier in the video, six big team. I think Alabama, Texas A&M, Kentucky, Missouri, Tennessee, Vanderbilt. They all have high odds to get in the tournament.
oh, that's a good one too, Missouri. That's a
Yeah.
sleeper too, because
Missouri's solid.
they were so hot in the start, and then they cooled like kind of off a little bit. But what's his name? Kobe Simpson. Simmons? I don't know. Kobe something from Missouri. Missouri, he's nice, man. That guy's
Yeah.
good.
We're gonna have to watch them. But
Yeah.
anyways, guys, thanks for coming on. We'll have to see what happens in the SEC tournament. All right.
So we have gone through all 32 conferences. It is time for our bold predictions. And Evan, I'll let you go start on this one.
Okay, so let's just bounce back and forth a little bit. First, bold prediction. Oral Roberts will have another very good tournament. This time they're going to be ranked a little higher. So last time they were a 15 seed and they beat Ohio State 2 years ago. We mentioned that earlier. They're going to do well. I predict that they go to the Sweet 16 this time. Oral Roberts is undefeated in conference play. They keep it going. What's one of yours?
Vanderbilt wins the SEC tournament. Vanderbilt had a very good season, 11-7 in conference play. They're one of the sleeper teams that we talked about in our SEC segment. I think Vanderbilt wins the whole thing, wins the SEC tournament.
There are no Big Ten teams remaining in the Sweet 16. None. Purdue is eliminated. Northwestern, if they make it's eliminated. Zero Big Ten teams in the Sweet 16 this year. One more years.
One more of mine. Texas makes it to the Elite Eight.
Elite Eight. All right, I'll give you guys one more too. I think that the conference to watch, I just gave you one, not two, is yes, right along with what Jake said. The Big 12 will have two representatives in the Final Four. I say let's end on that. What's our Final Four right now? I'm going to say Final Four, Final Two, whatever you want to put it. I'm going to say Kansas and Baylor. I know kind of boring names because they both are the back-to-back champions, but Kansas and Baylor will be in the Final Four. Let's throw in, I wanted to throw in UConn last. I'll just say Kansas. We don't have to give a specific team names. I think a Big East team will make it. We'll see if it's Creighton or UConn or whatever. And then I'll say an SEC team does make it to the Final Four. What about you?
Baylor, Houston, Alabama, UCLA.
Oh yeah, I got to revise. No SEC team. Houston makes it. I think Houston's going to win the whole thing. And I called that earlier, so I got to stick with that. So forget the SEC team on mine. Houston's going to be in the Final Four, and they might win the whole thing.
So my favorite to win it. I'm actually not going to stick with my favorite to win it. Now my favorite is UCLA to win the whole thing.
That actually is a good choice to sub Tennessee for UCLA. We'll see how it goes. Not a bad choice.